What is up, people, and welcome back to my Rags to Riches F1 2010 to 2014 career mode. This is the career mode where we go from one of the worst teams in F1 2010, work our way through the ranks and through the teams, and try and get a drive for one of the best teams in F1 2014. If you have missed the previous episodes and the previous series of this Rags to Riches, if you missed the F1 2010 season and the first 3 rounds of F1 2011, then there'll be a card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens to go catch up with everything so far. But we are here at round 4 of the F1 2011 season, our second season in Formula 1 in this sort of parallel universe, and we're currently 8th in the standings, 20 points on board at the moment, which at the moment will be a Toro Rosso seat for F1 2012, which is quite exciting. But we'll be hoping to maybe try and get a Williams seat once again for F1 2012, or possibly even try and get a Force India seat, but we need to start getting some race wins somewhere. If we can get some race wins, then we can definitely challenge for that Force India seat at the end of the season. But we have one email going into today's race, and that's just to tell us that they want a 12th place finish in the qualifying session and 9th in the race. Exactly what we had as the objectives for the Chinese Grand Prix, and we met those perfectly last time around. The weather is going to be nice and clear, so no rain so far in the season, which is what we like to see, because I believe the rain on this game is a lot more difficult than the rain on F1 2010, so I'm not looking forward to having to deal with that. But that is really it, everything that we need to sort of talk about going into today's race. So without any further ado, let's head over to the Turkish Grand Prix. Right, here we go then, starting our one-shot qualifying session here at the Turkish Grand Prix. Through the final corner, down to the line, put it up into rich mix, and let's get this lap underway. Here we are at the Turkish Grand Prix. I did well here in the F1 2010 season until I had a spin at that corner. I was doing a pretty good job, so hopefully we can replicate that, but just try not to have any spins in this race. If we can do that, then that would be a pretty good race for us indeed at this track. I do really enjoy this circuit, and I hope they do bring it back for the F1 2018 season. I have got my fingers crossed for that one. But so far, I feel like this lap has been pretty good. We've been meeting our apexes. We've been doing quite a good job, and hopefully we can carry that on as the track and as the lap goes on. Wow, how am I 4 seconds off the pace? Jesus Christ. Now that is a lot. That is a lot to be off the pace of as we go into the final couple of corners now. What can we do in this little section here? Can we hold on? Not like that. That was a terrible line. That is an awful line. Where am I going? But as we go down towards the line, it's not going to be beating the 125s. It's 19th place. We've actually been beaten by Heikki Kovalainen in this session. Wow. Heikki Kovalainen has beaten us in his Lotus car. That's just embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing. To go from the highs of China, where we qualified up in P11, wow, to now be down in P20 as we've been overtaken by Narain Kartikeyan. What is going on? What is going on in this session? Wow, but let's head back to the garage and sort of reflect on what a disaster this has been. 20th place. 20th place. 5 seconds off the pace of the leaders. How? How have I done that? That is terrible. That is awful here today. Lost it mainly in the first 2 sectors because I was already 4 attempts down by the time I got to sector 3. So I lost a second in sector 3 alone. But Felipe Massa goes and gets pole position for today's Turkish Grand Prix. Great result there for the Ferrari driver. Jenson Button, he will line up alongside him in second place, 68 thousandths of a second off of the Brazilian, with Sebastian Vettel in third, Fernando Alonso fourth, Mark Webber fifth, Lewis Hamilton sixth, Heidfeld in seventh, Rosberg eighth, Kobayashi ninth, Petrov in 10th, and then Alguersuari just missing out on the top 11. And there we are, 20th place. That's terrible. That is absolutely awful for today's Turkish Grand Prix. But hopefully we can sort of carry on what we usually do, and that is do a lot better in the races compared to what we do in the qualifying session. So hopefully we can do that in the race. But without any further ado, let's see what we can do. Here we are then, race day for the Turkish Grand Prix, and it's been a terrible start this weekend. 20th place in qualifying. That is awful, absolutely awful. For the first time this season we've been beaten by the back markers. Looking at the teammate challenge, and we are beating Rubens Barrichello. We're smashing him on everything except for the out-qualified. He is 3-1 at the moment, so a little bit disappointing on that front. But looking at the tyres for today, starting on the option tyres, note we're going to be starting on the primes, do our sort of usual tactic, and pit for the options on lap 7 of this race. 0% chance of rain, so nothing to talk about there. And without any further ado, let's head back to the track and get today's race underway. Felipe Massa had an amazing qualifying session yesterday to put himself at the front of the grid in P1. There's Rubens Barrichello, P15. Not the best qualifying session for him, and that's a terrible qualifying session for me. I can't really talk. I'm down 20th place. At the back of the grid with only HRT. I was beaten by a HRT of Narain Kartikane, but it is 5 red lights. It's lights out, and away we go for the Turkish Grand Prix. And straight away, we're just going to go up the inside and get as many drivers as we possibly can. What can we do in towards this corner? There we go, side by side with Buemi. Alguersuari gets through, and there we go, already up into P15 in this race. A little bit of a tie bang between my teammate and myself. Going to dive it up the inside now of this quick left-hander, and then in towards the tight right. Oh, get caught up behind Alguersuari, side by side with him, and then behind Michael Schumacher, up the inside of Schumacher and Alguersuari, in towards this left-hander. As there was contact between myself and Schumacher somehow. I'm not too sure how that would have been my fault, but I'm going to get tucked behind Vitaly Petrov momentarily. Then dive it up the inside of this right-hander. Maybe up the inside of Perez as well. Not quite, as it looks like Kobayashi went a little bit wide into that corner. So hopefully we can gamble on that as we go through the fast triple, quadruple left-handers. Going to go side by side with Sergio Perez through this corner. Surely not. Yes, we do, but unfortunately he's got the outside line side by side still, as now got Vitaly Petrov challenging us down towards this corner. We've got the job done under braking, and there we go, moving into the top 10. So from 20th to 10th place in the space of half a lap. What a start this has been to this Turkish Grand Prix. But now we need to catch up to Kamui Kobayashi and this trainer cars and see what we can do in today's race. They're going for a bit of a battle. I've got Vitaly Petrov all over the back of me as well, as he's trying to go for a move. But in towards this sort of tricky final sector, a lot of sort of chicanes to get through. Kobayashi getting held up by, I believe that is a Mercedes, a McLaren, and I'm not too sure who the other one is, but Heitfeldt's gone off the track. He's gone very wide off the final corner. Has Nick Heitfeldt there. Looks like disaster there for the Lotus driver. The German Lotus drivers go down in towards turn 1. Nice and tidy through there. Still right behind Kamui Kobayashi. Can we get the Japanese driver very quickly in this lap? Hopefully we can. As we're going to go in towards this fast left now, hug the apex. He looks like he's got away from us. This is where we're struggling. We're struggling in these corners. And I turned very, very early into that one, completely destroying the bollard, which isn't even on the apex. It's like, that was the biggest corner cut you have ever seen. And I apologise for that, but I don't even know what to say, as I'm still trying to close in on Kamui Kobayashi. But it looks like, unfortunately, they've got a little bit of pace, and so have the drivers behind us. But what can we do in this quadruple left-hander? This is where we start to sort of pick up the pace. Right, if any of you would like to push each other wide in towards that final corner, I would be gratefully appreciative. But looks like it hasn't happened. Once again, they're going very defensive into that corner. It will affect their line, but unfortunately not enough for me to close in. Wow, that was a huge corner cut. What is with me today with turning early? I am really, really struggling, but I have closed in on Kamui Kobayashi. No surprises there, as I did absolutely destroy the apex of that corner. But can I get this one right? Here we go, and it was better. It wasn't quite a massive corner cut, but it was better, as I've lost out quite a lot from switching from left to right there. Kamui Kobayashi still holding on to P8, but it looks like I am gaining on him. Well, there we go. DRS activated on this lap. Kamui Kobayashi going to go for the overtake on the Mercedes ahead of him. That's going to put those two side by side. No, Kamui Kobayashi has got the job done. I'm going to brake very late into this corner. Close in on Nico Rosberg. He, of course, is a sort of rival of mine at the moment in this season. Once again, it's just the switching from left to right. Sort of get myself the better line. That's what is costing me at the moment on this lap. No DRS down this straight. There's only one DRS point. As I'm going to try and catch up to Nico Rosberg and Kobayashi now. Nice and tidy through turn 1. Oh, nearly lost the back end there, but I closed up quite a lot to Nico Rosberg because of that. Not going to go for any sort of moves just yet. Otherwise, I could probably damage the car and lose out quite a lot to Kamui Kobayashi as well. We're going to go in towards this corner. I'm going to put myself right up behind Nico Rosberg as we go through the fast left-handers. Can I do anything in this race to try and get past these guys? I have been closing in for a few laps now. Oh, not the best of lines through there, but if I can keep close as we get to the DRS phase, then possibly, quite possibly, I could go for the overtake on Nico Rosberg. Here we go then, under braking before the 100-meter ball, getting the car turned in, losing out quite a bit on turning. I'm struggling quite a bit on the turning at the circuit. That is what I've noticed, but we will have DRS on Nico Rosberg. It's not really going to be enough to go for the overtake. It's just going to be enough to close in on him. As he's closing in on Kamui Kobayashi, will he go for the move around the outside, down towards this corner? We're going to brake very late, and we've gone straight into the back of Nico Rosberg. Braking so late indeed that we use him as a brake person. As Kamui Kobayashi comes into the pits, I'm going to go up the inside of Nico Rosberg, and there we go, job done. Up into P8 for the moment in this race. Going to get Kamui Kobayashi there, and there we go, up into P7. Should probably come under the pressure of Nico Rosberg down this straight. Here he is on our tail at the moment. He's going to go up the inside, most likely down in towards this corner, but we are going to brake later than the Mercedes driver. We can brake at the 100-meter ball, but the AI don't really like to do that. And there we go, getting the job done. He's probably going to be coming into the pits on this lap as well, so we are going to be aware of that one. Yes, he does. He comes into the pit lane. So does 3 other drivers. And there we go, going to be moving up into P4 for the time being. Okay, then the other 3 drivers have come into the pits at the moment. And unfortunately, I'm going to come out side by side. No, I'm just about going to get the leader. But there we go, up into the lead of the race as Massa is in first and second at the moment. But there he goes, holding on to P2. And it looks like Alonso is going to come out in P3. So it's a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment in this Turkish Grand Prix. That's going to be quite good for those two in the Constructors' Championship. I'm struggling with these corners, not with missing apexes. I am just obliterating them. I'm turning way too early, and I'm cutting too many corners in this race. Okay, then here we go. We're going to be coming into the pits on this lap now. We need to make sure we get the pit entry right, because if you remember back to the F1 2010 season we completely missed up that pit entry. But this time actually getting it right in the F1 2011 season. Now, the question is, whereabouts will we come out on track? I think we were around 8th position when we came into the pit, so hopefully we can still be batting a 4.5 second stop. It's not too bad. At the moment, we're holding on to P6. We will be overtaken now, though, by Lewis Hamilton. That's not really too much of a surprise. Buemi, I think, still has to make a pit stop in this race, but we're going to come out just ahead of the Toro Rosso driver. And there we go, up into P7 in this Turkish Grand Prix from 20th on the grid. That's absolutely incredible stuff as we now try and close in on Lewis Hamilton. Here we go then, starting the final lap of this Turkish Grand Prix. It's been quite quiet in the second phase of the race once again after our pit stop. But luckily for us, we have been closing in on Lewis Hamilton. The gap at the moment, 1.8 seconds. However, I don't think we're going to be able to get him. We've only been closing up a couple of attempts per lap. And the only real chance we've got of actually catching up to Lewis is if he catches up to the 2 back markers ahead of us battling. But I still think there's too much of a gap there for Lewis Hamilton to actually catch up to those 2, unfortunately. One more sector left to go in this Turkish Grand Prix. And then this is going to be goodbye to the Turkish Grand Prix, because it's not actually in F1 2012, I believe. But 2.7 seconds is the gap to Lewis Hamilton. I still fear that's not going to be enough to close in, especially with braking like that. Felipe Massa, though, wins today's race. What a result that is there for the Brazilian driver. Through the final corner, though, down towards the line, and it's going to be P7 here today. What a fantastic result for myself here at the Turkish Grand Prix. Hopefully, that'll be enough points to put myself back up into 7th position in the driver's standings as well. Gonna have to wait for confirmation on that, but 7th place, 6 points here today, and only beaten by the 6 front runners of the Ferraris, the Red Bulls, and the McLarens. It's always going to be tough competing against those guys. They are, of course, the best guys in this season, but a 126.812, nearly actually the fastest lap. Was that the fastest lap of today? No, that goes to Sebastian Vettel, but the second fastest lap, I believe, that is of everybody out on circuits. That is not too bad indeed. But Felipe Massa, he wins today's race. What a result that is for the Brazilian, with his teammate Fernando Alonso finishing in 2nd, and Sebastian Vettel 3rd, Mark Webber in 4th, Jenson Button 5th, and Lewis Hamilton in 6th, myself in 7th, Kobayashi in 8th, Perez in 9th, and Nico Rosberg getting the final championship point here today. And my teammate Barrichello, unfortunately, way down the field in P18. And then, of course, you have the back markers as well. So that's it for today's race. Let's have a look at the drivers' standings. And we've moved back up into P7, which, of course, is still a Toro Rosso seat, but it's closer to getting that Williams seat, although the Williams seat belongs to, at the moment, Sebastian Vettel, who is on 40 points. So It's going to be difficult. The two drivers, the two number 2 drivers that you would not expect to be challenging for the championship are actually having a battle for the championship at the moment. At the moment, 3 points separate Mark Webber and Felipe Massa after 4 rounds of the season. But there's still a long way left to go. There's 19 rounds in total of this season. We've only had 4. There is a long way left to go still. So there is still that chance to get that Williams seat for F1 2012. Looking at the constructors standings now, we have moved back up into P4, 3 points ahead of Mercedes, so that's brilliant news. I think P4 is the best that we can hope for. Look at the constructors standings though. Wow, 4 points separating Ferrari, Red Bull and McLaren. That is insane. Absolutely insane, the points difference between those 4 teams after 4 rounds of this championship. But P4 for us, a really, really good result, and hopefully we can hold on to that as the season goes on. But that's it for the Turkish Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. No interviews once again today after the Turkish Grand Prix, but what a race that was. 7th place from 20th on the grid. Absolutely incredible scenes here today. Let's have a look at the standings one more time. And we're currently in 7th place. That's the Toro Rosso seat for F1 2017, F1 2017, F1 2012. We're jumping ahead a few years there. F1 2012. And that's pretty decent. Toro Rosso seat for next year. It's going to be pretty decent. I'm hoping to maybe try and get the Williams seat for F1 2012 or the Force India seat, but we need to get some race wins along the way, and at the moment that is not happening. So 7th place at the moment, 26 points on board, 3 points ahead of Nico Rosberg. Not too shabby indeed. But that's it for today's race. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. The next time around, we head over to the Spanish Grand Prix for round 5, a track which I don't really tend to do well at. So hopefully we can sort of change things there and get a decent result for that race. But I will see you next time around at the Spanish Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.